don't know if you saw, I spoke to Snoop Dogg last week and talked to him about Crawford and Canelo, and he said, I got Bud's won.
Yeah, I've seen that. Everybody that believes.
Terence Crawford's trainer has just dropped the big news: the fight between Crawford and Canelo Alvarez is officially happening. No surprises here, really everything we've heard from different sources matches up. For all the die-hard boxing fans who live and breathe the sport, you already knew this was coming. This is the matchup everyone's been talking about, and now it's finally on. Get ready, because this is going to be one for the history books. So here's the thing: some fans think Crawford can beat Canelo just like that, just like they knew Bud was going to beat Spence. Sounds pretty straightforward, right? Brian McIntyre, Crawford's trainer, just confirmed the big fight will happen either during Cinco de Mayo weekend or on Mexican Independence Day. Both are huge for Canelo. Now, here's the real question: while the fight will be at 154 lbs, what if Crawford has to face Canelo at 168 lbs? That's a whole different ball game. McIntyre says it's all about the legs and stamina if Crawford moves up in weight. So what are you thinking? Could Crawford handle the challenge at 168, or is this a whole new level of tough? It's definitely a fight that's going to make you think. Big things are happening behind the scenes to make sure this fight goes down around the Cinco de Mayo celebrations. The teams involved are putting in the work to make sure both fighters get their huge paydays and give fans the fight they've been dreaming about. Brian McIntyre, who's already led Terence Crawford to world titles in 4 different weight classes, is now focused on getting Crawford ready for a fight with Canelo Alvarez. He's making sure Crawford is in perfect shape for this challenge. So, what do you think? Is this the fight you've been waiting for? It's a matchup that could shake up the boxing world, and fans are excited to see it come to life. Crawford has already achieved so much in boxing, but now he's eyeing his biggest challenge yet, taking on Canelo Alvarez. After his win over Israel Madrido to claim the 154 lbs title, Crawford is more focused than ever on stepping into the ring with the Mexican icon. While Crawford's list of accomplishments is long, a victory over Canelo would be a whole new level for him. Canelo, the super middleweight champ, has only lost twice, once to Dimitri Bivol and once to Floyd Mayweather. McIntyre, Crawford's trainer, is paying close attention to Bivol's win over Canelo because that's the kind of strategy they'll need if this fight happens. He knows Crawford will have to be light on his feet, just like Bivol was. So, what do you think? Could Crawford outsmart Canelo? This is shaping up to be a fight fans won't want to miss. That's the fight I'd go back and watch, McIntyre said, referring to Canelo vs. Bivol during an interview on the Luke Thomas YouTube channel. He broke it down simply: if you know boxing, you can see exactly what Bivol did to make that win possible. McIntyre is confident that Crawford can get in the ring and perform just like that. He even pointed to Mayweather vs. Canelo as another example of what Crawford could take from it. As for Crawford's future, it seems like his name is at the top of Canelo's list after all the buzz surrounding the potential fight. World Boxing News also reports that Crawford could be getting the call sooner rather than later. So what do you think? Is Crawford the next big challenge for Canelo? Fans are excited, and we're all waiting to see if this fight will finally happen. The event is being planned as part of the Reality Season USA show, and it could be held in Las Vegas. If it all comes together, this would be Alik's first time being involved in a major headliner in what boxing fans call the world's capital of the sport. Alik had originally made the Canelo vs. Crawford fight a top priority for 2024, especially after teaming up with Bud for his August fight against Israel Madrido. But after some setbacks, it seems the Saudi chairman took a step back. I heard Turkey Alik sent an offer to face Crawford. Is that true? What's the real story here? A lot of fans are asking. It looks like there's still a lot of behind-the-scenes drama to work through before we get a clear picture. So, what do you think? Will this fight happen, or is it all just talk for now? Fans are eagerly waiting to find out. No, I don't have any offer, Alik said, putting the rumors to rest. I just finished a big meeting with my team, planning out the fights for 2024 and 2025. I decided to walk away from the Canelo fight. I don't want it anymore. Instead, he's shifting focus to the US market, looking for bigger matchups, especially for Crawford. But hold on, things have taken a twist. The buzz around Canelo vs. Crawford is picking up speed again. Crawford recently told his former opponent Sean Porter that he wasn't too impressed with Canelo's attitude towards the potential fight. So what's really going on here? Are we back to square one, or is this fight actually happening? Fans are on the edge of their seats waiting to see how this all unfolds. What do you think? Will we finally see this showdown, or is it all talk? Crawford recently responded to Canelo's comment saying, "I heard Canelo call me easy work. If I were easy work, he'd take all that money Alik is offering him." So speaking on the Porterway podcast, Crawford made it clear that true boxing fans already know he can beat Canelo, just like they knew he'd beat Spence. He's asking for $200 million for Bivol and $150 million for me, Crawford pointed out. That shows I'm a real threat to him and his legacy. Kenneth Sims Jr., who's been sparring with Crawford, also gave his thoughts exclusively to WBN. Crawford is making it clear he's not just another challenger, so what do you think? Is Crawford truly the challenge that Canelo fears, or is this just part of the game? Fans are waiting to see what happens next. This fight could really shake things up. Kenneth Sims thinks Crawford has what it takes to beat Canelo. He said, "I'd love to see the Canelo fight. I've seen Crawford in the ring with much bigger opponents, so I believe he can pull it off." Sims is confident that Crawford can get the win, especially considering his experience fighting against bigger guys. But right now, Sims is focused on one thing. "I'm 100% focused on this fight, and after that, we'll see what happens next." At the moment, Crawford is the top name on the list of potential opponents for Canelo, with fighters like Charlo and Billy in the mix as well, but it looks unlikely that Charlo will get the call for now. There's also the chance of a rematch with Dimitri Bivol, depending on whether Bivol is interested in taking it. So what do you think? Will we see Crawford vs. Canelo next, or will another big fight take center stage? Fans are on the edge of their seats, waiting to see how this plays out. Canelo Alvarez might get the chance to avenge his loss to Artur Beterbiev and grab all the belts at 175 lbs. But by the time that happens, Canelo usually has his Cinco de Mayo fight plans all set. If Beterbiev wins his rematch on February 22nd, Canelo could decide to go after Dimitri Bivol for a revenge match in September. Now, there's some big news. Canelo seems to be confirming he's open to facing Terence Crawford. This has fans buzzing because if it happens, it could easily become one of the biggest fights in boxing today. But the real question is it actually happening? Fans are hoping this dream matchup will become a reality. What do you think? Will we see Canelo vs. Crawford soon, or is this just talk for now? Let us know your thoughts. When asked about it, Crawford made it clear, "No, I don't have any offer," but here's the real question on everyone's mind. What if we get the fight between him and Canelo? This would be huge, featuring two of the best fighters at the top of their game. Canelo, the undisputed super middleweight champion, has ruled his division with a perfect mix of power and precision. On the flip side, Crawford is known for his incredible skill, intelligence, and strategic mind, which have helped him rise to the top. Both of these fighters have proven themselves time and again, and a showdown between them could easily go down as one of the biggest fights boxing has ever seen. So, what do you think? Will we see Canelo vs. Crawford in the ring soon? Fans are waiting for this epic battle. Let's see what happens. In a recent interview with Sway's Universe, Canelo Alvarez shared his thoughts on a potential fight with Terence Crawford. He said, "Why not? Don't get me wrong, Crawford's a great fighter, but in my weight class, it's an easy fight, easy money." He made it clear that if the deal makes sense financially, he's ready to go. But he also admitted, "I'm not a fan of fighting guys like Crawford because he moves around a lot, and those kinds of fights can be boring. But after seeing his last fight, he didn't move as much, so if the money's right, I'm in." Canelo also pointed out that weight classes are there for a reason, but it sounds like he's not too worried about the challenge if the conditions are right. So what do you think? Is Canelo underestimating Crawford, or could this fight actually happen? Fans are definitely talking about it, and the excitement around it is building. Would you want to see this fight go down? Let us know your thoughts. Canelo has made it clear that he's fully focused on his upcoming fight, saying he's not thinking about anything else right now. He also mentioned the UFC event on September 14th, but it looks like Canelo is staying locked in on his own game plan. This is a big shift for him, considering he had been hesitant to face Crawford before. His reason? He didn't think he'd get enough credit for beating someone from a lower weight class. Meanwhile, Crawford isn't backing down. He's been relentless in pushing for the fight and is even willing to move up 2 weight classes to prove he's the best. Crawford knows he'll be at a physical disadvantage, but he's determined to show he can handle it and still come out on top. This whole situation is heating up and fans are buzzing with excitement. So what do you think? Will Crawford's determination pay off, or is Canelo right to stay focused on other challenges? The anticipation is building. Let's see what happens next. Crawford knows that the size difference will play a big role in a fight with Canelo, but he's still confident that he can handle it and impose his own style in the ring. However, not everyone shares that confidence. Some boxing experts are questioning whether Crawford can compete effectively at super middleweight. They point to his recent fight where he won a points decision over Israel Madrimov at super welterweight, but many fans felt he didn't dominate the way they expected. Another name fans were talking about is William Skull Zeptita, an undefeated IBF challenger with a 2-3-0 record. But as of now, a fight with Canelo in September seems unlikely since the IBF has taken him off the list of contenders. So what do you think? Could Christian Mbili be the one to challenge Canelo in 2025, or do you think Zeptita might still get his shot? Boxing fans are waiting on the edge of their seats, and we want to know your thoughts. Drop a comment and let's get the conversation going. This could be a huge year in boxing. Canelo Alvarez recently lost his undisputed title after refusing to fight the Cuban challenger, which led to him being stripped of his world title. Now, the boxing world is buzzing about who could be next in line for the big fight. One name that's being talked about is Diego Pacheco, a 23-year-old fighter with an undefeated record of 2-2-0 and 18 knockouts. Pacheco is eyeing the WBC and WBO titles, and he's set to face Steven Nelson in Las Vegas on January 25th. Another potential challenger is Cuban fighter Yordenis Ugas, who's also undefeated at 1-3-0 with 12 knockouts. At 27 years old, Ugas is looking to make a real impact in the super middleweight division. So, who do you think is the real threat to Canelo's reign, Pacheco or Ugas? Or do you have another fighter in mind? Let us know in the comments. Boxing fans are waiting to see who will rise to the challenge. Canelo Alvarez has always made his own rules when it comes to weight classes. He's fought big names like Floyd Mayweather and Amir Khan, both at catchweights. Remember, Khan's fight happened at 155 pounds. But right now, it seems like there aren't many clear options for Canelo's next big match. A rematch with Jaime Munguia has been talked about, but that's looking less likely after Munguia's loss to Gennady Golovkin. So, as of now, everything about Canelo's next fight feels more like rumors than real plans. What do you think? Who should Canelo fight next? Is there someone who could really challenge him, or do you think we'll be waiting a while for that big matchup? Drop your thoughts below. We're curious to hear what you all think. Right now, it looks like a fight between Crawford and Canelo is the most realistic option. Since Crawford's win over Israel Madera last August at 154 pounds, he hasn't announced what's next for him. His trainer, Robert Garcia, recently spoke up saying that if Crawford doesn't get a shot at Canelo soon, he might retire. Garcia made it clear that Crawford knows a fight with Canelo could be the biggest payday of his career. This could be his chance to make history, and if it doesn't happen soon, Crawford might decide to hang up his gloves. So, what do you think? Is Crawford vs. Canelo the fight that boxing fans are waiting for, or should Crawford move on to other options? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to know what you think. Crawford has already done so much in his boxing career, and his trainer, Robert Garcia, thinks he doesn't really need to prove anything else. In an interview with Fight Hype, Garcia shared that Crawford has accomplished everything he set out to do. He's already reached the top, and unless a huge fight like Canelo comes along, there's no real reason for him to keep pushing. Garcia also said he's talked to Crawford personally, and from what he's gathered, Crawford's big dream right now is that fight with Canelo. If that fight doesn't happen soon, Garcia believes Crawford might just decide to retire. Of course, there are still plenty of other big fights for Crawford in the junior middleweight division, but if Canelo is out of the picture, what's next for him? Do you think Crawford should keep fighting for those big paydays, or is it time for him to hang up his gloves? What's your take on this? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Crawford still has some great options if he decides to keep fighting. There are a few champions out there who could make for exciting matchups. One of the biggest names on his radar could be Sebastian Fundora, who's holding titles with the WBC and WBO. There's also IBF champion Bakram Murtazaliyev and other potential opponents like Jermell Charlo, Virgil Ortiz Jr., Sergey Bohachuk, and Xander Zayas. Crawford's all about taking the right fight at the right time, and with the kind of career he's built, he knows what's at stake. So what do you think? Should Crawford go after these other champions, or is the Canelo fight the one you want to see the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Robert Garcia sees Terence Crawford at a point in his career where he doesn't need to prove anything. With an undefeated record and everything he's already accomplished, Crawford has nothing left to chase for. According to Garcia, Crawford has already made his mark in boxing, and he's done it on his own terms. Garcia also pointed out that Crawford doesn't need to fight just for the money anymore. He's made smart investments and taken care of his finances, so he's not motivated by paydays. The only fight that could bring him back into the ring, Garcia believes, is a showdown with Canelo Alvarez. Crawford wants to close his career with a big challenge, and this fight would be the perfect way to do that. It's not about the money, it's about finishing on top. Garcia, Crawford's trainer, says that while Crawford definitely has a chance in any fight, he's realistic about his chances against Canelo. He believes Crawford would put up a good fight and win some rounds, but ultimately Canelo would come out on top. Still, Crawford's focus is clear. He wants that one big fight before he's done. It's not about proving anything to anyone anymore. It's about making a statement and going out on a high note. If the Canelo fight happens, it'll be his final shot at leaving a legacy in the sport. Garcia believes that Crawford has what it takes to go several rounds with Canelo and make it a competitive fight. He thinks Crawford's skills, strength, speed, and power would allow him to hold his own in the first few rounds, possibly even the first 6 to 8. While he might not have enough to fully beat Canelo, Crawford could definitely earn his respect and the respect of the fans. Garcia is clear, though Canelo's size and strength would eventually be too much for Crawford, but that doesn't mean Crawford won't make it an exciting and competitive fight. In those early rounds, he has the ability to give Canelo a real challenge, and if he can do that, he'll prove just how much he deserves to be in the ring with one of the best. The 6 rounds, it would be a rather fun battle, in my opinion. Garcia came to the conclusion that Crawford-Canelo would fight likely being stopped and knocked out, but he would still put up some strong rounds. Yes, but he'll do some decent preparations for a battle between Saul, and for starters, Canelo Alvarez is already on the other side as the current boxer who makes the most money, even though he asks for a $200 million purse to avoid David Benavidez. In reality, though, it is just a shield to not accept the challenge, and for Bud Crawford, Matchroom chief Eddie Hearn stated that there are few options for the fight to take place. Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez appear to be merely intending to fight because there is a bigger obstacle than agreeing on a multi-million-dollar purse, and Canelo may not be flexible even if Turkey Alik offers the best pay of his career. How will Crawford be able to carry this burden? The gap, to be honest, I don't believe he may not go out with Bridget on Saturday. As Canelo Alvarez looks ahead to 2025, fans are buzzing about who his next opponent could be. One name that's been brought up is Christian Mbili, a 29-year-old French boxer with an undefeated 2-8-0 record. He recently won his fight against Sergey Derevianchenko in August, which has put him in the mix as a potential challenger for Canelo. But even with that win, some are unsure if Mbili is ready to take on someone like Canelo, especially with the title not on the line. But here's the thing, hardcore boxing fans believe in Crawford. They're convinced that just like they knew he'd beat Spence, he has what it takes to beat Canelo too. Crawford's skills and ability to rise to the occasion are what make this fight so exciting. So, what do you think? Can Crawford's technical skills overcome the size difference, or will Canelo's power be too much for him? Fans are watching closely and can't wait to see how this fight plays out. Let us know your thoughts. The idea of a fight between Canelo and Crawford has boxing fans buzzing with excitement. Why? Because both fighters bring a mix of power, speed, technique, and charisma that could make for an unforgettable match. Canelo has built a tradition of fighting twice a year, usually in May, around Cinco de Mayo, and again in September during the weekend that celebrates Mexico's Independence Day. He's been scheduling his biggest fights around these dates since 2022, making it all the more exciting for fans. Now, with the possibility of him facing Crawford, the hype is real. Fans are imagining how this showdown could go down, with each fighter bringing something special to the table. Will Crawford's skills shine through, or will Canelo's experience and power prove too much? One thing's for sure, this could be a fight for the ages. What do you think? Would you be excited to see these two step into the ring? Let us know your thoughts. This could be one of the biggest boxing events in years. Canelo Alvarez has made a habit of fighting twice a year, and with his first fight of 2024 already in the books, everyone is wondering who's next. There's been some hesitation around facing David Benavidez, the mandatory challenger at 168 lbs, which only makes the situation more interesting. Now, with Canelo's next fight still up in the air, it seems like Terence Crawford could be the top contender for the matchup. But when will it actually happen? That's still unclear. I don't know, man. Someone close to the talk said they still need to figure things out and work things out behind the scenes. So what are your thoughts? Would you be excited to see Crawford take on Canelo next? The suspense is definitely building, and fans can't wait to see how this all plays out. Drop your thoughts below. This could be the fight we've all been waiting for. The talk of a Canelo Alvarez vs. Terence Crawford fight is all over the media right now, but there's a lot of back and forth about whether it would actually be a competitive match. Crawford, who fights at 154 lbs, is 2 weight classes below Canelo, who fights at 168 lbs. Despite that, Crawford and his promoter Shakir Al-Ali are doing everything they can to convince Canelo to take the fight, offering a huge $150 million. So, what do you think? Should Canelo take on Crawford, or would it be better for him to look for a more competitive challenge? We'd love to hear your thoughts on this potential fight and whether it's one you're excited for or not. The buzz around this matchup is growing, but the decision is still up in the air.